And good morning on this Tuesday as we're back again with the Beef and Barnzy show. And as always, I'm joined by internet personality, bowling center personality, flow bowling personality, the brains of the operation, and obviously the looks as well. Stu Williams, how are you today?
Not bad, Chris. Wow, we had a strong weekend of bowling in Texas.
Yeah, no shortage of things going on around here. That is for sure.
So let's have just a brief recap. So Friday and Saturday were dominated by the Longview Doubles. Anthony Simonson and Kevin Williams came away with the victory there. Then which direction in Texas should we go? Let's go south from there. So then Jay Nephew hosted an event on Sunday over at Armadillo One, I believe it was. Well, it was one of the Armadillo centers in Pasadena. That was taken home by, quite uniquely, a right-handed bowler. Christian Azcona held on for the victory, despite getting 5 on his fill shot to let Jacob have a chance to double to beat him in the 10th frame. Jacob's quite a common theme this weekend. Then on Monday, still in Pasadena, AJ Rice ran up the ladder a little bit and took down Jacob for the win there. Then if we go, I don't know, let's go west. We had some tournaments in San Antonio, which I didn't get to, I didn't partake in, and I don't actually have any information from them, but they ran something every day over the weekend down in San Antonio. They had a 4x4x4, whatever that meant. They had a dual pattern singles event and something else on Monday. We'll move up a little bit north. My wife bowled in Austin on Saturday and won the mixed doubles. Yay. One of us made money this weekend. Moving a little bit further north on Monday night, we bowled in Killeen. I got my clock cleaned by the local house pro. 1040 for 4 by JB. So that was pretty impressive. I was out the gate with 180. So doing quick maths, I needed about 860 the back 3 to give myself a chance to beat him. Moving a bit further north up to Dallas. I mean Fort Worth rather. On they had the ABT on Saturday. Even though it was a trios, it appeared the clowns, Jared Thompson and Parker Kappa, they basically took care of that tournament. Then on Monday, we were in Fort Worth. Well, I wasn't. Kelly Ray ran a tournament there. A local lefty, Kevin, what was his name? I believe took care of that. I will get him a credit because that seems like I'm being an ass. And then your favorite sweeper of the year, Chris. How did that one go? Talk us through it.
Well, it was profitable and had nothing to do with me. So as usual, I bowled very marginal there. I found a lot of ways to shoot 215 a lot of times until the very last game when I only shot 200 and then missed a check by 4 pins. So it only took like 104 over to cash. The house shot there's, I mean, I say that, but then Dimitri Cruz won with 240 over, 250 over. Sean Lavery was second, and we got a Barnes in the top 3. It just wasn't me. My son, he put it on him. He bowled good, and he left a few out there. So nice to see. It's a little stunning, basically in a field that's basically a regional, nearly a regional field, with the Laverys, Chapman, Dimitri Cruz, and local guys. So it was his best finish to date, and certainly his best performance, as going across that center is no fun sometimes.
Trey giving me the information. Kenny Hamby took down the win. He beat Bowie in the final. Thanks, Trey. I hope you're feeling a bit better after Longview. Sandy Charles tuning in. It was good bowling with the Williams last night. Thanks for coming to our little house tournament. William Gannon runs a great tournament. He does. He was William was running brackets. He was running side pots, crossover doubles, everything you could think of, all by himself. So that was a pretty good effort. Even I have to give him a little bit of credit. Tip of the hat. So that was the our tour around Texas. No doubt we forgot something because we always do. But yeah,
there's just a ton of things going on, and I guess speaking of a guy who bowls a ton of stuff, he's. Gosh, I don't know. He's won just about every tournament coast to coast, from the Bowler's Journal out in Las Vegas to the Battle Bowl in Delaware, and it's hard to cover much more ground than that. So he terrorizes basically events everywhere with any prize fund that hits four figures. And he's 29 years old, from Phoenix City, Alabama, and last week's runner-up in the Longview Doubles, AJ Rice.
What's going on, guys?
Not much. Pretty much a whirlwind trip for you. You're already back home.
Yep, I got home last night about 1 a.m.
Stealing all the money from Texas and then leaving like a thief in the night.
They handed me the money yesterday at the NDO tournament, and I was out of the building 10 minutes later to run to catch my flight. So it was a little, yeah.
So you dined and dashed.
A little dine and dash.
AJ strikes a lot. Well, we have some pretty good fans on here, and the AJs, they pretty regularly take a beating because we generally have a title prerequisite to be on the show. And so how many AJs have titles now?
I mean,
your 58 titles in non-professional events may qualify in there somewhere. I'm not sure.
I have one PBA title. It was a doubles title. It was a member, non-member that I won 2 years ago with Chris Arcaro. I don't know if that counts, but it was a PBA event. So
I was about to say, were you the member?
No, I was not the member. It was Chris Arcaro was the member. I don't know.
Okay. Well, Trey, the host of us in Longview. Thanks again, Trey.
Thanks for coming. He says, thanks for coming out to Longview this weekend when there were plenty of options. Well, let's be honest. Trey has put on one of the best tournaments on Labor Day weekend for 15 years, 20 years. I mean, that it's not a question which place you're going to bowl, and I think it's unique and plays to its favor that it's on Friday and Saturday, and it's the most accommodating of all too. He kicks off the weekend with the biggest tournament, and then everybody kind of disperses to either enjoy their weekend or bowl some of the smaller events. But that event has been a go-to for a long time, not only for the event itself, but the hospitality as well. Some great barbecue, and he takes care of the players. And he even has cold AC.
He does.
It was comfortable in there.
I agree. Very comfortable, especially if you are not bowling.
Please note, the guys who came third and second said they were comfortable AC. I was still running pretty hot.
To be fair, for the first 5 matches, I found it much cooler than the last 2.
I will give it was very well done. They had fans around the building as well that helped out a bunch. AJ could attest to this. 1 and 2 was like a hot box because poor Trey, the fan above the pair, had broke, and the fan on the pair, the hand fan, had broke also. So 1 and 2 was I loved it because I have this argument with everybody. I go, get rid of the AC. I understand how to deal with sweating. You thin folks. I might sweat more. I'm not worried about that. I already know how to deal with sweating, period. All I hear is everybody else whining about how hot it is. It's all right, fellas. No problem.
Well, the gauntlet's been thrown down. Trey's terms a success, but Trey says the only way our live stream is a success is if we get AJ to show us if he has any hair under that hat.
Of course, Trey would say that. Of course he would. Of course.
And?
I have hair.
There we go.
There we
Not even
go.
close. See.
Yep.
So I guess it's a success.
Although I think you are the only one who wears a hat on backwards more than my son, the one that doesn't bowl. He's also left-handed, ironically enough.
Is he two hands or one hand?
He's one.
One,
If he was
okay.
two, he only throws at about 15 miles an hour with a fairly decent rev right now. I can't imagine with two.
No, two would.
It might need a sundial to get down there.
Yeah.
So I've got some highlights. I reached out to Craig, and he graciously let me use some of his stuff from Bowlstream. So give that a check out on Facebook, Bowlstream TV. So let's. I've got a couple of incidents that I thought I'd throw up. Some good, some a little heartbreaking. So let's see what we got here. No, that's not the one I want. I want the other one. And of course, StreamYard didn't tell me which one was which. And now I deleted it because I'm an idiot. I'll look that up in a minute. So here we go. Barnes is here. Super thrilled. As you can see, that's not his team right there. Hope the cursor's coming up. But on the left side right here. So, yeah, let's see what so Jacob. So, AJ, what was going through your mind here?
Oh, man. Honestly.
Pretty good at this point, front nine.
Yeah, honestly, you would think that by us still finding a way to put up some scores like we were, that we were still up and beat, but I was exhausted going into that match. And as you can tell in that shot, I threw that shot and turned around, and I didn't give a shit in the world. I was just like, you know what?
All I heard there is, I am so far ahead. It doesn't even matter.
Oh no, I honestly couldn't tell you what happened that shot. I threw, honestly, this weekend in particular, I had to have thrown about 10 to 12 gutters throughout the entire weekend, from Friday to yesterday at Omar's tournament yesterday. I think I threw 2 gutters in his tournament yesterday. I physically just, I don't know. I don't look exhausted, but I promise you, I was ready to go home.
You went into the losers bracket the second match.
We did.
Stayed there. How many matches did you bowl?
We started bowling at 10:30 Saturday morning, and we bowled nonstop. So if I remember correctly, we bowled, I want to say it was about 10 matches. So we bowled over 30 something games to get to Kevin and Anthony. So and you all know how that ended. So
yeah.
Well, to
be fair, I went back and went to sleep after we got used as a road bump. It's a speed bump because we didn't even slow you down. It was just a little minor problem.
Thank Kevin and Michael for breaking down that pair properly, I guess, because they were on that pair the match before we bowled you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have mattered. It wasn't anything to do with the breakdown. The pair just was really difficult on the right side.
I can agree to that. The left side definitely was a lot more forgiving than the right side was.
After the rerun, they did get trickier, it seemed, and it wasn't that I think that the left got a particular better or worse. We couldn't get the ball off the gutter very well.
Right.
I guess the middle just got flatter, and so it got a little harder to get to the right.
Oh, Barney, I got your highlight.
If I'm not mistaken on that shot right there, when Chris rolled out that 10, he came back to Jacob and said, what did you say, Chris? You like to see him do that with the reactive.
Yeah, throw one of those with reactive.
Yeah. And then Jacob turned,
I thought Jacob was pretty tired too. I don't think he took it all that well. I'm like,
he didn't.
Seriously, it's way harder to do that with urethane than reactive.
Yes. Yeah, it was.
You can't just get a scout to come over there at the speed of snail to knock the 10 pin over. And
So that was that, and then fast forward to, I don't know, probably an hour and a half later. It's all right, AJ. It wasn't you who missed it.
Oh man.
So look, we're even going to give you some highlights here. So this was the 10th frame. You guys went in down by 2, but you had the hammer with the strikes. K. Will, who actually I think was the MVP of the tournament, he bowled incredible.
He did. He bowled phenomenal.
So Jacob's head's in the way. I think he's just showing off that he's got a full head of hair.
Yeah, so you guys both had strikes, and they both had spares. So
that might have been the only time that a pin went across the deck, and it didn't hit for either you or Kevin.
Yeah. Kevin sent a lot of logs this weekend. A lot.
Yeah.
Fun to watch.
So at this point, there we go. At this point, it was looking pretty good for you guys. And the match had been quite back and forth. So it wasn't like, because in this situation, if you lose this first match, but you were way ahead and the other team comes back, it's like awful, but it's not as awful. But with this match being so nip and tuck, anybody could have won this game.
Oh, there. Yeah, and this was definitely anybody's ball game, and those are the matches that, honestly, like, as a bowler, like obviously you guys know that as much as you would love to win by 100 pins and just just breeze through, these are the moments that you really want to come through and make those clutch shots to give yourself a chance to win or to win, because it just makes the feeling so much better. It makes you. Oh, that was a terrible shot. Oh.
But you got the first one, and
now you're up 20 after the missed spare. You think you're still pretty golden there. I mean,
yeah.
Up, but
I told myself that once he missed the 7-pin and I got the first one, I was like, all right. So all Jacob really needs to do is he needs to get count and mark somehow, and don't leave a 7-pin, because if you guys had paid attention at all, Jacob on his 7 pins for the weekend was not in his favor. So I just said, look, leave anything but the 7-pin, and we're fine.
I didn't see too many of them in our match, so I couldn't say. But.
Nope.
I was about to say, you can't say Jacob this weekend.
Yeah, there is history there.
Bless Jacob. I think my board has screwed him. I wrote, all he does is win, and then all he did since that board went up is come second.
But I think what people didn't look at here was Anthony. Even though they were kind of down a little bit, Anthony fought back, and he threw all 3 in the 10th frame to make Jacob think about it. At least give him something to think about when he went up there to throw his next shot.
Did he say anything after it?
Who, Anthony?
Yeah.
He did not say anything. He just came back, went over there off to the side, stood by Kevin, and just watched as the 10th frame unfolded.
I'm kind of surprised for someone who gets on with it as quick as Jacob. I didn't watch this because this was at 3 a.m.
Right.
But I'm kind of surprised for someone who bowls as quick as Jacob. Did he just let Simo go?
Yeah, I was very surprised too. I thought he would get up there at the same time, or not far behind, and kind of like match him shot for shot. But he let him do his thing.
Basically, Simonson bowled 2 shots unopposed then.
Yep.
Which is, like I say, for Jacob, anybody who watched Jacob, he's a get up and go kind of guy. He doesn't you're in trouble with Jacob. He's always bowling 100 miles an hour.
He is. Actually, Anthony and Kevin, they were over there. They were talking about, trying some different things for the next match, because they kind of were under the assumption that, okay, Jacob's probably going to mark. He's going to, do what he has to do to get us to 3 more games. And, didn't quite happen that way.
Yeah.
A little bit. I guess, to be fair, he doesn't have a whole lot up there this game.
His ball reaction towards the end, it wasn't great for him.
He's only on 190 with 9 players in there.
I guess he was probably thinking about trying reactive.
He was going to try it if we had gotten to the other 3 games. His thumb was severely swollen. He could barely get his thumb in the ball to begin with, especially those last 3 games. He was struggling, and he said he was in a lot of pain. He said he pulled something in his growing area towards the end of Chris bowling against Chris and AJ, but I couldn't tell.
It didn't affect his scores a lot.
No, it didn't.
and it was fine the next day when he.
Yeah.
No.
I think it was a fatigue, you know, bowling 30 games,
Yeah,
all day long.
It's a mental error. And it's funny that it's not funny, but it is ironic that actually happened because Chris left a 4-pin in his match against Billy Rogers.
Billy Rogers and Rick Justice.
And he needed to spare the 4-pin. And I was looking, and the guy who was not backing, but who'd got Chris in the what we call it, bowler's bid, the butterfly
collection.
Yeah. The guy who had him said he was dancing around. I was like, no, you're fine. It's no problem. Like, everything's good. And Clint Johnson turns to me and said, oof, I don't like the plastic ball here. And I just look at him and I'm like, what? And he goes, well, with the plastic ball, he goes, I like throwing the reactive ball. I know where that's going. And I go, I'm a professional bowler. Chris is a professional bowler. Do you think he's worried about where his plastic ball's going? Like, when you throw the reactive ball, you strike shot and you hook across it, that's when it's worrying. And, of course, we just laugh about it, and Clint goes, good point. And I go, when I bowl league and there's 20 to hit on the left side, sure, I throw my reactive slow and just pitch it to the right. Longview wasn't really like that, though.
Not even.
No.
And then fast forward, like, probably about 9 hours or whatever it was between those matches, and Jacob's ball, even with urethane, wheeled past the front of that. I mean, even watching the replay then, it still looked like it was going to be okay. And then it was gone.
Yeah.
Trey says right here, it's perfect. That seemed like the slowest going away 3-pin that I've ever witnessed. Heartbreaking. I'd heard about it. I knew what was going to happen, and I watched him throw it, and I just assumed, he missed way in, and it got to the flat part lane. I watched him throw it, and I went, it was a little. It didn't get to 2, but it got to 5. And
it was.
Jacob Dolis, he doesn't stand on top of it, so it was still going right to left.
Maybe if he didn't have his cheaty purple hammer, he would have spared it because it wouldn't hook that much. Just saying.
And cheap sheets have to throw straight at spares. That's somebody who doesn't watch Jacob bowl.
Yeah.
He doesn't throw it straight at anything except
the 7-pin. Yeah.
When he throws the 7-pin, and I laugh with Jacob about this, God love him, it looks like he's using somebody else's ball or a house. Get off.
Chris Lott wants to know what ball was the go-to ball for you?
All weekend or just particularly in the finals? I don't know what the whole weekend.
This weekend.
So for me, mostly for the weekend, it was between the new IQ Tour Pearl. I threw that most of the weekend, and then some of the pairs that got a little toastier for me, or the left side was a little tricky. I went to my Phantom because I am currently a free agent at the moment, so I'm kind of in between, just throwing a little bit of everything. So it was between those two balls. I tried urethane at times, but for me, urethane, if I got on top of it too much, it did one or two things. It just hit red too early for me, and then just went 60 feet. Or if I kind of missed in a little bit, it checked and missed a head pin right. It just wasn't a great look for me. So those were my main two balls that I threw all weekend throughout the entire tournament.
Typically, you don't use urethane that much, do you?
I honestly don't throw urethane a whole lot unless the pattern, just is in. It just. And definitely urethane could have been thrown, and like I said, I gave it a try, but it just wasn't the greatest look for me. So I, went a different direction.
It is pretty ironic for me anyway, listening to you say that, and you bowl with Jacob. And honestly, to a man, I honestly think the left-handers bitch more about following him than the right-handers do about following, like, say, Belmo.
Yep.
And the right-handers bitch a lot about getting on Belmo's cross. A lot.
Yeah, a lot. Yes, I've heard a lot of stories about nobody wants to cross Belmo.
I don't mind it. He hits the same place twice. At least I know where the friction is.
Yeah.
His laydown doesn't affect me much. It's normally about 2 arrows left of me. So
yeah.
Marshall Morrison says nobody knew what to react. It was complete science after that miss. He said it might have been the quietest moment ever in the history of Longview Doubles.
There was only about a dozen people in that bowling center, maybe a little more, watching that final match that were there. And when he missed that 3-pin, Nobody said a word. Nobody was just everybody was.
You didn't have a reaction, and Simon and Kevin kind of went, did we just win?
Yeah, they looked up like, did that really just happen?
Yeah.
They were over there discussing strategy to get ready for the next 3 games because all he needed was to spare, and I think 2 pins, maybe 3, to force another round. So they were mind blown, along with everybody else. And of course, Jacob beat himself up for that. But you know, there was plenty of matches in that tournament where we needed Jacob to throw the first strike or do something to give us the win. I think we bowled 2 matches before that. We bowled against Marshall, Morrison, and who's his partner? I think RJ.
RJ Clan.
Yeah, and Jacob needed the first strike to put them away to bowl against Chris and AJ, and Jacob threw the best shot of his day in that tournament. Went 10 back, and then.
How many close matches did you guys have overall? So you bowled like 12 total.
Yeah, we bowled 12 total. Our so a close match was between Marshall and RJ. That came down within less than 10 pins. We bowled against Dimitri and Maldonado. That came within, I think, 5 to 10 pins, if I'm not mistaken. There was another match.
No offense. I'd have wished that had turned out differently for you.
Oh, man.
I don't like our chance on a tough pair against those guys a little bit more than you guys. You didn't make that pair look so hard. But
that pair, yeah. If it had been on 25 and 26, that pair was definitely that pair was not a good left pair, if I might say myself. It wasn't very fun.
No, there are pairs in there. It's always been that way. If you can avoid the bad pairs.
And the crazy part is, though, I've heard a lot of history about that center. Is that 23 and 24, where we bowled you guys at, is not a good pair at all for anybody, left or right on that side. But I don't know what.
I've been eliminated on that pair 3 or 4 times, and every time it's been by the left-hander or 2 left-handers have beat our team. The right side, there's just a panel that goes the wrong way down there on 25, which makes the 2 lanes different, which if you bowl 2 other right-handers should be, in theory, should be to my advantage. I certainly didn't figure it out very well. I threw about 6 balls on that left lane between practice and the first 5 frames and still didn't have a very good idea what to do. So,
right.
And you guys made the adjustment, whatever. It has to affect the left as well, but yeah, but there's lots of pairs like that and lots of buildings. And once you have the information, there's really not a big – you have to do what you have to do. And you guys made that move better than we did.
Yeah, you just got to catch the right pairs and make the most of it.
So let's move on to slightly more positive. Not for Jacob, but for you. Then we had – man, Craig Elliott was busy. Jesus. And you're moaning about – bowling a few games here. Well, this is quite interesting. I didn't know how this one turned out. So here's your semi-final match against Christian Azcona. Man, we got bonus footage here. Yeah, Craig Elliott was doing work. He was 7 hours at the NDO. He had 20 hours at Longview in one day.
That's it? I feel like it'd be more than that.
Just for one day. That one didn't include Friday night. So at this point, I mean, things aren't looking particularly positive for you here, man.
No, Christian. If anybody watched this match, Christian was just wheeling urethane from anywhere, from 2, 3. He had miss in, he had miss out.
Way.
I know I know, mind-boggling. So I told him. So I told myself, you know what? It's not over till the last ball is thrown. So you get what you can get and just.
Oh, there you are.
No.
There we go. Sorry, I had a phone call coming in.
Yeah, that's a slight negative with the phones. Don't worry. I was on a Skype call with Storm the other day doing the live stream, and I had my phone on Do Not Disturb, and it still came through. Like, oh, wait. So I guess I have to put it on airplane mode and switch the Wi-Fi on the next time. The only negative of that is when you realize that the data is, you got to use your own data, then it kind of is a bit of a mess. So here we go. So this was the semifinal, yeah?
Yes, this was my first match, I believe.
Giorgio was the second seed, though.
Giorgio was the second seed. I was the third seed.
Right. Okay. So this Christian Azcona took care of Andrew Anderson, who went through the gauntlet of the 4-man one make it.
He did.
Then he took care of Maldonado, I believe.
He did. He did beat Maldonado.
So Christian had a pretty good weekend as well. He took down the Eliminator the day before.
He did.
See what happens here. This is brand new to me. I'm watching this for the first time.
Yeah, you're tough with the strike up. He really just needs 19 and 2 shots here.
Oh my God, he almost got 0.
And he broke it. He broke through the bumper.
Yep, he did. I was very surprised that didn't peel back, because there was a couple of shots off his hand that you just look like that has no chance of recovering, and it just would peel back at the last second. Do the light mixer, throw pins across.
It's got to be very weird for you seeing it completely backwards from usual.
I mean,
sorry, not from the cheap seats.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah, to be honest, if you're throwing urethane, it probably wouldn't go in the gutter so much. So it appears to be the key to get it to pick up early enough. It doesn't.
So that wasn't particularly close.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
that's a steal right there.
Giorgio put on a display. I guess he didn't like how Christian broke him down for him.
Yeah, Christian and Andrew, they stayed on that pair for the 4-man 1-game shootout and through all the step ladder, and that's all they threw was urethane. So the right side definitely got a little toasty.
Jacob got off to a strong start there. Not usually ideal when you're playing the guy who's smashing them to start open.
Yeah. Yep. First frame was a 7-10 split. I don't know what he left in the second frame, but
wash out bucket, I guess.
He said that pair we bowled on right there for that match. He said that pair played nothing at all, like he had bowled on all day prior to the step ladder. So I saw him pretty much the same. So actually, if you watch, I'm almost identical to where I was at for Longview Doubles, kind of closer to the gutter, throwing the same bowling balls as I did in Longview.
And if there's a small hole in Jacob's game, it's that really playing up the lane, scoring up the lane. That's pretty difficult for him to do with his rotation and his rev rate. But,
right, and doesn't have quite the ball speed either. I don't think he doesn't throw it very hard either.
Well, when it doesn't get up, your batsman doesn't get to your butt, it gets pretty tough to do. And so,
I was about to say it's all relative, though.
Yeah.
You throw it extremely hard.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like, So I do have a question for you, just because it's always fun. I'm pulling up what I believe is your bowl.com here. I'm looking. No, you don't seem to. I don't believe these are you. So what's your high average for a season?
High average for a season, 254. I did it back in 2011 and 12, and that was good enough for high average in the nation. And then I did it again in 2016, 17, I believe. And 254 was the magic number again. So
it's tough getting past that 54.
Oh man, it is. You always have that one set. I had I believe the first year that I won it, I think it was the second to last week of the season on that when I won it the first year. I had a set, I think I had 793 or 794, and my average dropped 2 pins. I didn't know whether to be mad, happy that I just shot 790, or mad that my average just dropped 2 pins. So
was that in Shawnee?
No, the first year that I won it, I was in Pennsylvania. I moved up there with a friend of mine, and it was at a small 16-lane center called Manor Lanes in Hopwood, PA, ran by a guy named Dave Shaw. That was one of those little centers that nobody really knows that even exist, but it's actually a really nice center. He takes care of it, up to date on everything, it's well ran, so it was a fun house. And then the second time that I won it was here at my home center in Columbus, Georgia, at AMF or Bolero now. I wasn't even going to bowl in that house, and a friend of mine, his dad got hurt, and they asked me to fill in for the season. You know, like, hey, look, it's paid for. We just want you to bowl. You know, just come have fun. I'm like, all right, you know, why not? I'm not doing anything. So I got just enough games to get enough. I got enough games in to be eligible for average, and it was enough to beat Mike Dole. Mike Dole, he was at 252 or 253, and on his final night he shot 8 something to get to, I think it was 53. And my last night of league I shot 770, 780 to scoot it up a pin just to edge him out, and he was a little salty about it because he had 130 games and I had, I think, what's the minimum number? 70.
2/3, yeah. So
2/3. Whatever the minimum number is, I had
70.
I think
I think it's 66.
Depending on the length of your league.
Yeah,
our length was
35
weeks.
It's
they have some record, I guess. You know, like that Jeff Carter record, because that many games.
Yeah, Mike had 110, 120 games in his league on when he did it. I think I had 70 through something like that. It wasn't many.
Since Trey Autry's is with us today, I want to circle back around. I heard Trey talk about expanding the Longview Doubles to 96 teams. I think that would be interesting. We'd have to start a little earlier than 10 o'clock on Friday night.
We'd have to start now.
Yeah, we might have.
Yes. Yes. And still would not get done until 3 a.m.
Can we do it?
He's lucky and so not complaining, but why was Longview so skewed towards lefty? I don't think it was actually skewed. There were a lot of left-handers there. It turns out the best ones were there at the end. I think the same on the left as the right. There are pairs that are better on the left, and there are pairs that are definitely better on the right. And you have to survive through it. You guys caught a pair early. They got you in the losers bracket, and then late.
Yep.
You survived some matches that where they weren't so good for you, and nobody took advantage of it.
Yep.
I also think that when you don't oil the lanes for 5 or 6 matches,
that would be the other way.
That definitely is going to come into effect.
Yeah.
That's just, to be honest, I thought that they didn't need to re-oil the lanes when they did. Like, I was bowling my last match was the match. I think they had one more match before they re-oiled when we went out the round before the cash, and there was plenty of ball left on the lane. I was actually quite shocked.
I bowled on a few pairs where there was not. I mean, they weren't unplayable or anything, but had we bowled on those pairs, we would have got thumped because we had early hook at 6th arrow, and 12-0 to 12-60 would have been a good score.
I did. Did you see that, AJ? Did you see how I resisted the temptation to point out that he still got thumped even though they re-oiled the lanes?
I did.
Oh no, I didn't say it, but then it's not fair. I mean, it's not about a fairness issue.
It's okay, Chris. I was just being an ass.
That's fair. No,
pattern and volume
should have played 6th arrow. And there's Trey. He says pattern and volume played more in favor a little bit, but in general, you're not going to shut the left out, nor should you. I mean, that's never the goal, is to shut anyone out.
Right.
Cut them off, Trey. Cut them off.
Yeah. But the only solution is run them more often, and that just makes everything take longer. And
there's a great solution. Get up to 134 teams or whatever it is, 128 teams. Have 100,000 for first. Get all the lefties there, and then just run them to like 100 feet on the left. One time. See you later, boys. Cold word.
Oh, man.
I think it is possible if he had gone with his original thought of 38 mils, that urethane would have been pretty difficult.
I thought that was the pattern.
You don't see that, but
it was 37 feet. What was it? 37 feet, 35 mils?
32.
Yeah.
Okay, 32. Okay. All right.
It's been 20% more oil in the lane. It's not that it would have made it tough. It just would have shoved down the lane a lot more. And
well, even for Jacob, Only being 32 mils. Jacob's ball reaction with urethane that in that house in Longview this weekend was not. I mean, he had some good pairs where he did strike a lot, but there was a lot of pairs that his ball just pushed and pushed and pushed and just didn't want to come off the spot like it normally does. And
I'm on the other team. So that's just me. I think if they'd have put more oil on the lane, it would have made it worse for the reactive balls. But
it's very possible, but it's all theory because no one's put more than 32 units on the lane in about 20 years.
Yeah. Did I just describe the Proprietors Cup? I don't know, but if I did, haha.
The Bradley, I believe the Bradley is probably one of the few tournaments that puts out more than 35 mils. I believe the Bradley's.
Yep. Get your screen ready, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we bought the Bradley this year.
I bought the Bradley for my first time last year.
There you go.
96 next
We're
year.
going to go Red River style. We're going to put he's going to have to put about 55 units on them. We're just going to run them in the morning and redo them at night.
Hey, AJ, man.
I bowled a couple of the original Red Rivers. It was 96 teams and then 16 lane center. It started on Thursday night to finish on Sunday. Above ground ball returns and wood. I only got to bowl in the old center one time. And they were so tight in the morning. It was Blue Hammers era, that kind of stuff. Guys had lane screen trying to get their ball to pick up. And in the middle of the scores, you get high. And then by 11 o'clock at night or whatever it was, you basically just tried to go Brooklyn and leave a 5-pin so you could make something. It's really how I learned how to bowl because the scoring pace meant everything. And the ego had to go completely away because early 11:20 was good, then 13:50 was good, and then, dear God, I mean, 11:20 was golden again by the end of the night. And you literally just, the only time I ever really aimed Brooklyn, and you just fell it back into Brooklyn because it was the only chance you had to leading something you could make.
Oh, man.
Right. It was interesting.
Does not sound like something I would want to bowl.
Yeah, generally, like I was telling the story that I bowled with Steelsmith one time, and we went for like 2,200, which was the most at that time in the Calcutta. And then we bowled Fleming and Rick Lawrence in the first round, and they were really hard, except for Rick Lawrence shot 680 on the left. And so we spent the next 17 hours in the losers bracket, kind of like what you guys did, and then lost at 3 a.m, at a dart contest at the head pin, just trying to get 9.
Paul Bell getting a shout out. Hey AJ, you won a scratch tourney here in Albany that I put on, and you beat Gary Morgan in the finals.
Oh yeah, that was. Oh wow, that was.
It was a minute ago.
Oh man, yeah, that was. Yeah, that was. Wow.
4 state doubles in Texarkana. I love that term. I won that one twice. Once with Garber, once with Lonnie, maybe. Yeah. You wouldn't think so. Back then, I got to be on the left of everybody else. But you want to talk about hot? That place didn't have air conditioning. Double tournament in August, 16 lane center. They had a fan in that corner, just kind of blowing across. So that was a young man's tournament. Right now, I don't know how I'd survive that one. But
the worst part of that is when the sweat gets on the approach.
Well, Dell used to bowl it. And Dell used to not be a small man. And the towel on his head and all that stuff, it just couldn't get it off there fast enough.
Oh, man.
You literally had to go, you could see the dots sometimes. And so if you were sliding in the same place, you had to go dry them up a little.
Paul says it was probably 2009 or 10.
Yeah, that's about right. It's been a hot minute, that's for sure.
That was 120 victories ago. So
yeah.
J.R. Williams here is saying, great bowling this weekend. Missed the old SSJBA days when I had a small chance to beat you.
Justin Williams. Oh man, good. Yeah, he lives in Tennessee. Yeah, he's another fellow two-hander on the other side of the lane, on the dark side. the not so friendly side sometimes.
2 big Giant fans, yeah. All right, AJ. Well, at this point, we generally go to our 10 question segment. The 10 times. It's somewhat rapid fire. So, first thing that comes into your head, bang.
All right. Well,
we're being blessed here, Chris. Dick Allen's in there.
Whoa. Simo was in here too a little while ago.
Quick question for Dick Allen. Do you want to come on Thursday for part of the league preview show? I needed to reach out to you, but I might as well do it on here. So answer in the comments.
All right. If you had one superpower, what would it be?
One superpower would be to read people's minds. Sometimes I like to wonder what's going on in some people's head when they're getting their brains beat in by two lefties.
I don't think I made you read my mind at all.
Chris is like an open book.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that might be a little bit disturbing, though. I'd be interested to see what was going through Jacob's mind sometime.
Oh. Oof, that is one mind I would not want to get inside.
There we go. So we've got one victim for Thursday's show.
Good deal. All right, AJ, if you could give yourself your own nickname, what would it be?
Own nickname. Oh man. I haven't really thought about that.
AJ 5. I mean, at this point, I don't know.
Oh man. Oh. I got nothing for that one. I honestly cannot think of a superpower, or I cannot think of a name. I really don't.
All right. What accomplishment are you most proud
of? My most proud accomplishment, honestly, even though it honestly doesn't count as a title, would be winning that regional a couple years ago. I mean, I've always wanted to win a PBA event, singles, doubles, just anything PBA related. So to win that one was a huge moment for me. I don't cry. I don't get emotional at many tournaments, but when I won that event, I definitely showed a lot of emotion.
Honestly, I've expected you to bowl on tour more than you have. Pet peeve.
Pet peeve.
My part's missing 3 pins.
Yeah, that one's gonna sting for a minute. Pet peeves.
Sorry.
People that chew really loud. If I'm sitting with you at dinner or somewhere out, getting lunch or something, and I can hear you chewing, grinds my teeth. Absolutely hate it.
Name a bowler most likely not to return your text.
Jacob Buttroff. Jacob Buttroff. He never responds. He will text you 4 days later.
One shot you'd like back.
One shot I would like back. Honestly, actually, when I was on tour 2 years ago, I was the Lubbock stop. Actually, I was about 20 or 30 pins out of the cut going into the last game, and I had 260 going into the 10th frame, I believe.
And again on the phone call.
Yep, I did.
Oh, your camera's not come back.
Uh-oh, hang on.
Leave and come back real quick if you can.
Yeah, if you can just log out and come back in, that'd be perfect.
All right.
So while AJ's away, because it seems only fair.
John Rash did. He was on here a little bit earlier, and he had a big giveaway for Donna Connor's Strikeout Breast Cancer Tournament.
This was one time that AJ he bowled on the PBA. I took him down. A doozy.
I can't see it. What's it say?
Oh yeah, it's too small. It says Stuart Williams 185, AJ Rice 172.
Boom.
It was a good block for me. I bowled you in that block as well. I took you down 207 to 156.
Is this the U.S. Open? What are we bowling on?
No, hey, AJ, I was just showing back to when you made the round robin at the Players.
The Players, my only PBA cut.
Yeah, I was showing where I slapped you around like a little bitch.
That was the most horrific round robin match play I've had in my life. Horrific. But I will say nerves were at an all-time high.
This was game 2.
Yes.
You were to use the phrase, you were still shitting bricks.
Well, the first game 1 at that, I shot 240 or 250 Sean Rash, and he shot, I think, 260 at me. So you thought, hey, this is good. I'm great. And then nope. It was all downhill after that.
Then I slow played you.
Yeah. Yep.
So we talked about the one shot you'd like back. Who's the best trash talker? The rules are a little different in the amateur game. You can certainly get away with a lot more there than on tour.
You can, definitely. Best trash talker.
I'm being shouted out by Chris's mom. I'm sorry, Mrs. Barnes.
She's watched me bowl before. It's not going to be the first time.
She did add a ball to the end of it, though.
Yeah, that makes everything better. As long as you smile at the end.
Best trash talker. Honestly, do they have to be a bowler, or can it just be somebody on the amateur side?
Oh, just anybody.
Amateur. Jody Boyd. He is a tournament director. He runs tournaments out of Ohio, and that guy right there does not shut up for anything. Does not shut up. He right now he has this feud going on Facebook with Jalen Mosley, and y'all know who Jalen is. Jalen's very talented, very good, and Jody is about 180 at best. And Jody is he's a clown. He is a grade A clown. He thinks he's better than Jalen. He can beat him. Jody hands down.
We've learned with social media that Mark Anderson's storm booth rule number 2 is the one to go with. Do not engage.
Do not engage.
Yeah, you cannot engage some people. They're fair enough. All right. Let's see. The most you have gambled on one hand and the most you've gambled on one game.
Would probably be Battle Bowl. Last year. It was last year, I believe. Yeah, last year I bowled Joe Navarro best of 7 for $5,000, and I swept him 4-0. So that was a fun weekend.
5,000 apiece.
Say that again.
Was it 5,000 apiece or 2,500 apiece?
No, 5,000 apiece.
So it was a $10,000 match.
Basically, $10,000 match, and I swept him 4-0. So that was a fun little weekend.
I'm sure Jake had a couple of bets in the back as well. I'm sure he wasn't.
Jake, So Jake had a bet with a couple of guys, 2,000 here, 3,000 there, and he is honestly he is just back here 3-4 months ago is just now getting his money from some of these bets that he made with these guys a while back. So
that's weird. I've never had that experience with anybody on the East Coast before.
So we have decided from now on, any big money matches like that, money will be on the table before a ball is thrown down the lane. So
only people on the East Coast think it doesn't have to be that way.
I guess so. That or they didn't plan on they didn't plan on their guy losing.
They didn't plan on the inevitable.
Nope, they did not.
No. I mean, I feel like the bet I want to have, and I wish. If I didn't bowl on tour, the bet I would have is I would have an open bet for high average, like with anybody. I'd do it. Like we could put $500 up a piece or whatever, and because I look at all of these, and outside of you and maybe Dole, all these guys, everybody goes, "Oh my god, they're the king of the house shot and whatever," and then I look their average up, and they average 239. But you had 890 and 900. That means you averaged about 213 for the rest of the season. So I'd be all good with that. I think that'd be fun because there are so many people who it's oh my god, this guy's great, and his average is nothing. So
nope.
They're the guys.
All right, we're gonna let's see. Dumbest way you've hurt yourself. We got ninth frame. Dumbest way you've hurt yourself.
Dumbest way I hurt myself. So 4 years ago, I went to this place called The Launch. It's where they have a bunch of trampolines. You can bounce around, jump, have a good time. I wasn't doing it for 2 minutes, and I jumped a little too high, and I came down on my right ankle, and it went the wrong way, and ended up in an ambulance on the way to the hospital. I personally thought I had broken it, but so I ended up taking all the tendons and the nerves from all the way from the top of your foot all the way up to your shin area, and I just stretched them as physically as far as you can without tearing them, is what the doctor told me. So
breaking it.
yeah, it's the worst you can do without breaking it. So I would have honestly probably rather just snapped it in half and called it a day. But that's probably the dumbest way that I've hurt myself.
I like that it took you about 3 seconds to come up with it too.
Oh yeah, that hands down. No. And since then, I think I've gone back to that place one time, but it's because I took my son there to let him have some fun. But I myself will not do that ever again. So,
real quick question in between: how many 300s, 800s?
So a while back, I actually got curious about that, and I went on the USBC and I went and looked up all my achievements and everything. Last time I remember counting, I think it was 105, 106, 300s, and about the same on 800s. But I can account for a lot that I know have not been put on USBC. So the number's probably a little higher. So it's over 100 on both sides for sure.
We'll just call it an even 200.
Yep, even 200 and call it a day.
Yeah. All right, one last thing. What is something that no one knows about you?
Something that no one knows about me.
AJ's back.
Honestly, not a whole lot. I'm honestly pretty open with about everybody, so nobody really doesn't not know anything about me that would shock the world. So
I thought you were going to say something like, I actually like it when they're quite tough.
I mean, that is one thing. People think that I only bowl on house, or I only like house, but I also don't mind bowling on the tough either. I'm not a one-sided story on that. So I'll definitely bowl when it's the only pattern that you will not catch me at is if I hear the word red square, I will not bowl on that. I bowled a 10-game marathon I think it was last year or 2 years ago. We bowled a 10-game marathon on that pattern, and I think I averaged 140. I have the picture on my phone of the spreadsheet of my scores. It was like 180, 140, 150, 190, 20, 160, 150. It was not a good day, and so since then I have told myself I don't care if it's for $1 million, I'm not going to bowl in that pattern. Just not going to do
it. Real quick, spoiler alert: the patterns don't play the same everywhere.
No, they don't. They do not. I've learned that.
So red square in Longview would probably be fine.
Probably because the gutter's going to hook.
Yeah. So it swings and roundabouts. It's almost the worst thing that bowling did was naming patterns.
Yeah. I agree.
37 feet at University Tuesday pot games looked like 2-0 was a magician's score, and then
that's a good example.
And then AJ and I had 1100 for 2 at one point. So I mean,
but like you bowled on that pattern at Denon.
Yeah,
I bowled with
a higher volume, but it didn't. Yeah,
what I'm saying is, theoretically we bowled on the same pattern. I shot 1060 for 4 games. And they were struggling to bowl 200. So, pattern names, get rid of them.
Yeah, just put a pattern out there and let people go out there and just let them bowl.
Frank Zhou's trying to reclaim it. To be fair, all AJs have no titles, so I can't really tell which one's which. And the dudes tend to wear baseball hats as well.
They do.
Yeah.
Well. AAJJ does not wear a baseball.
No. Hat.
Yeah, he's
very particular. So, all right, AJ. Well, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. It was a nice chat. We had a few different people in the chat. You definitely brought some of your fans with you, so that was much appreciated.
You're a popular guy.
Yeah. I don't. I like to think that I'm. I'm not. Oh, what's the word for it? And I like to think that I'm not famous, but I like to know that I feel like people kind of know who I am. So, I walk into a building and I'm like, okay, they probably know me. Okay, they probably don't know me, but but then you guys walk in the building and they're like, oh wow, it's Chris Barnes. Oh wow, it's Stu Williams. These guys are PBA TV stars. Which
yeah.
Have that all the time.
Real quick, you or Packy Hanrahan? Who's better?
Oof. I personally am going to go with Packy. I know.
That's a stone cold lie. He went
no,
and then I got to be nice here.
I mean,
yep.
Packy has the 900. I only have
AJ Rice.
I only have 895.
Packy has 900.
I believe he does.
Well, 300s in a row isn't 900.
Well, it sort of is, but I guess it wasn't in the right order.
When you bowl a 4-game tournament and you bowl the first game,
oh, that's right. He did go like 260 and then 300, 300. Okay, yeah.
Here's fun. Here's one of our biggest fans, Ross Gibson, the Weber Cup lane guy. Leave patent names alone, Stu.
As Ross once told me, we're just bowlers. What do we know?
Just bowlers.
So, Ross.
Well, we'll be back again on Thursday. We're going to continue our PBA League preview, I guess is the best phrase for it. So, we have Dick Allen. I will fill out the roster.
And we'll probably add more.
Yeah, we're aiming to have 3 people on. I think we're going to do it a little bit different this week. I think we're going to do split it into 3.
That's fine.
A mess with 5.
AJ, you got anybody you want to thank?
I would like to thank Trey and all these Omar and all these Jay Nephew, all these guys that gave us something. They gave us stuff to bowl this weekend. These guys put in a lot of work, and people don't really realize what actually these guys go through to make sure that these events go as smoothly as possible, and the time they put in to do it, and the hours and everything that comes along with it. These guys definitely are the troopers when it comes to doing these kind of things, and we're just there just to bowl and have fun. These guys are the ones that really honestly do the real work. So I definitely appreciate these guys very much and what they do for us to give us stuff to bowl.
Special shout out to Craig Elliott. He had a long
Craig, yes.
long
Craig, he did.
He did. So maybe give him a follow on Bowl Stream. He has some pretty good stuff coming up, I know for sure. So without further ado, Chris, are you going to give us our rundown?
Yeah. Again, thank our sponsors, and there's a few of them scrolling across the bottom there. 900 Global, Storm, Roto, Turbo, Vice, Coolwood, 3G, Dexter, Master, and Bowler Smart. Again, if you get a chance, go out, stay safe, stay healthy, support small business, especially those bowling centers. We got Michigan open now. Just a couple left that are not opened up. Go support them when you can. Eat a meal there. Do some things to help them get through so they can make it through not only this winter but next summer as well. And we all have a place to play. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.